Hello and welcome back to another Discovery 2 TD5 video, and we are removing the Watts linkage, which is attached to the back of the differential here. Got two trailing arms that go onto the chassis there and up there, and we're currently in the process of removing this. What we're going to do is we're going to keep the existing parts and we're going to refurb the bushings in them. So these sockets are, what did you say they were, 19mm?
The one facing exhaust is 18,
and
the one behind the nut is 21.
So there's these ones on the trailing arms to remove, and then also in the centre, that one there as well. So we'll film this video in various parts.
And just a little tip, we've left our spring in place there, so when I'm putting pressure on here, that's locking this ratchet in, so I can undo it quite easily.
We are also replacing the springs and shocks on this, so we're deciding to do this at the same time because we're in the area.
And how did we get these nuts to move? They've been on here 20 years. Right, they were cleaned up with this.
So we used a variety of tools. First off, we used drill wire brush. Just drill with wire brush on the end, little one. You can use a big one as well, just to clean up the nut and the bolt head. So the bolt head's that side, the nut head's that side. This stuff,
It's brilliant.
in the threads,
And some heat.
and some nat gas torch.
That's been invaluable while we've been
This
doing
is a
these
very
jobs.
handy piece of kit to have, especially with old stuff like this. So we're just getting this off.
And every so often we will stop and just put a little squirt in these threads. It seems to help, so
Seems to help just lubricate it and shift
Yeah.
some stuff. So we've got to do this trailing arm here, and we've also got to do the other side. And the next part of the video, you'll see, excuse me, is us removing the centre bolt off the diff.
I've got a
Right, welcome back to the second part of the Watts linkage removal video. There's a few things I'll explain. We've lowered the axle to make it easier because otherwise this part here is against the fuel, near the fuel tank. At the front part's near the fuel tank, so it's difficult. So it has this balancing cable, this thing. Cable off this block. That's in front like that. And it's held on by this nut. What size is that?
which is 24
Which
mil.
is a 24mm
It's a nut and a washer.
nut and a washer. And then at the front,
21.
so you've got a 21 at the front, and at the back, this big nut here, which you have to sort of hold on to, is a 24. So it's all fun and games.
Now, 2 or 3 days before, I'll be honest with you, I've been under here squirting a bit of this and cleaned the bolts up.
And we have actually
And I managed to crack it, the first bolt, with this.
we have actually used a wire brush on the nuts, the bolts and nuts, etc. Just to clean them up.
We did use our friend here
We used our friend Clark impact gun.
on there to loosen that and kept squirting a bit of that, and it is coming away quite freely.
So that's where we are at the moment. Once we get it off, we'll show you more, and then this video will be in several parts because we've actually got to replace the bushings in this thing as well.
Bearing in mind, we're able to lower this back axle because we've got the springs out and the suspension struts out.
This is why we're sort of doing this job now, really.
And look at, I don't know if you saw that, but apparently these are called rose bushes or something. But
Yeah. I
That's
don't
why they
know if we showed this in the last video, but
it's knackered.
everything needs a good
It's an MOT fail, this side.
everything needs a good clean up. So that's where we are at the moment. Okay, welcome back. So we've got the Watts linkage out. Now we'll just show you the overall condition of it.
So
Important thing to note on here is this part at the front that goes at the front. It's got up arrows.
that points towards the floor of the vehicle, just so you know, those 2 arrows there.
Yeah, that points towards the underneath the boot.
Surprisingly, anybody who's got Discovery knows it's like a challenge between man and machine, right? It came out, this is the easiest thing considering the size of it that I've removed from this vehicle this week, so, but it is in a sorry old state. All the boots are, there's a split one there,
I think we bought this piece, didn't we?
We bought this piece and we bought the replacement bushings for this, but it is a sorry old state, so it needs replacing. This bolt is horrendous.
The bolt is enormous.
It's got to be 12 inches. Easy.
I've never seen anything like it.
I was going to say, the other thing, this was invented in 1742 by a man called Mr. Watts, hence the Watts linkage. All I know is the purpose of these is to keep your vehicle in a straight line when under stress. That's all I know about it, and it's quite important, especially for these types of vehicles. A lot of trucks and lorries have them, and anything big like this will have them, so that might be of interest to you. But I guess it's quite a big job to get off, because the only way you can access it to get it off, if you're trying to get it off without the springs off and the axle lowered, this will hit the diesel tank.
Fuel tank, yeah.
So and the reason you can't get it off is the length of the bolt needs to come right out. So
that's the other thing, is even if you could get a sock on it, could you get it out past the tank with the bit that goes down? I don't think you could.
You can't, so that's why we're taking.
So that's why we're doing it. Yeah, that's why we're doing it now.
We've got to just remove these bolts.
But I've got to clean up all the. I'm going to keep the arms, put new bushings in them. We've got this new piece here.
So we only need to replace two
this
bushings.
Actually, the rubber seals on these bushings are actually completely gone.
I mean, if you look in there, I don't know if you can see it in there.
Yeah, it's worn, isn't it?
It's aluminium, so you can see sort of the stresses that these things are under.
And if you look at the boots on here, one of the boots is torn, and we haven't done that taking it off. It's just here it goes there.
That one's torn already.
Very crusty and very old and horrible. That looks like it's got cut in it as well.
Yeah,
see?
I'd say this is the original. This is the better one, to be honest. This is like totally. So this is the better one out of the two, and this one's completely had better days. So this bit to buy is about
100 odd quid.
Yeah, it's not cheap. I don't know why it's so much money, but it is. These bushes are about 30 each.
Oh, you get them in a pack.
So we looked at the arm rather than buy all the arm and that. We'll keep the original because it's just dirty, isn't it? Just rusty. We'll clean it up; it'll be absolutely fine. So one thing Discovery parts are, the originals, is fairly robust and good quality.
They do tend to last, don't they? The original parts.
Yeah.
For a fair old bit of life as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to clean this up, and it'll come back once we're trying to put the new bushings in. Okay, so welcome back. So we needed to remove the bolts from these arms. It's a 21 on the nut and a 18 on the bolt. Used a bit of heat, bit of penetrating oil,
and a bit of a tap,
bit of a whack
to get that on.
So we're gonna just wire wheel all this off. Bit of rust remover.
Get these out.
Bit of a paint, or we'll do the bushes first before we paint it, obviously. But yeah, that's the bushes. We'll press these out. Right, if you don't have a vertical press, which most people don't, this is something you can do to get it out, get the bush out of the arm. You need a bench vise. We've got this as well, but this is all we've got. So what we're using here is we're using one of these cups, and the cup is about as big as the outer part of the arm. It's from that ball joint kit.
There we go.
Yeah, so it fits around there. We've cleaned this up with a wire brush to see what we're doing. Then in here, you need a socket that's smaller than the metal, but it's about as big as the outer part of the rubber. You don't just want to push on this part,
because it just won't go anywhere.
Where the bolt goes, you want to push all the way around, and that one is a 30mm. So, as John will demonstrate,
and what we've been doing, as we've been going along, just been squirting
a bit of that rust crap in there, anti-remover, just to make the process a bit easier. So once you start hearing it like creaking, you'll hear the first time with the pressure on the vise, you'll hear a creak, and that's when it just is moved, and then throughout it you'll hear a set of creaks. So that what we need to do then is just
show you
tighten the
how
vise
much
up.
it's come out.
Yeah.
Which is a fair bit.
So what we do is we take that off and then we'll just go for it again. So you may need to do this a couple of times. You also might need to use bigger outer parts as well.
So literally that slides in
So
there.
you can see there, see how that slides in there?
Yeah.
It slides in there nice.
Sometimes I find it easy, just somebody shows you. Right. Well, that was easy. Wow. That was easy.
So there you can see we've got it out the arm, and you can use the same method for getting it in, but you just need to be a little bit careful when putting new bushings in. Taking old bushings out is fine, a bit of heat, a bit of this, a bit of that. When it comes to putting the new bushings in, that's the ones you need to be careful with.
And that's the old.
And that's the old one.
So that worked. These are actually the exact size. We've got lucky here, to be honest, but if it works,
That's
it works.
perfect. So we'll come back to you when we've moved on a little bit.
So just to recap. Apologies.
Yeah, just to double check.
32
mil arm mistake.
to push it out, and that would sit literally like that. That's obviously 32
I
mil.
think it must have been the wrong one in the box to press the wrong bit.
And that just pushes that out all the way into there.
Okay, so we hope that helps.
You a little bit, yeah.
Okay, so we've put one bushing in one of the arms. Here's the second one. I'm just going to share a few tips with you that you might want to use when you're doing it yourself, because it is important. Otherwise, you won't get new bushings in these arms unless you do this stuff.
Yeah, it's just
So if you look at it, the tolerance is too tight at the moment.
so if you refurbish it like we are, you need to clean the inside out quite significantly to that point so you can see the bare metal. We've used a little Dremel or multi-tool you can get just to clean everything off, old muck, old rubber and
we've
everything.
done several passes, haven't we? We've checked if it fits, it didn't fit, we did another pass.
Yeah,
just
because this has also been distorted over the years and there's all sorts of muck in there. But basically that's it.
What else did you do with the edge? You chamfered it, didn't you?
Just a little bevel, so
a bit of a bevel inside.
that would go in. The important thing to remember about these, the outer casing is plastic.
Yeah, if you show
So-
that on here, say.
You can't hit them too hard or do
plastic,
anything. You've got to be
rubber.
really careful with it. It looks like metal, but it isn't. It's just a hard plastic. So when we'd cleaned all this up, we placed the bush in there. So it would push in 2 or 3 mil, just chamfered the edge. So it would just pop in there. Then I'm using a vise until that virtually disappeared halfway. We just used the washer off the main bolt.
Off the counterweight,
Yeah.
that big washer.
And we positioned it like that.
And then we just pushed it in, and then once it got to a certain point,
Halfway.
we then used this
Put this
spacer
behind it.
so that it could pass through to here.
Because if you don't do that, what you'll find is you'll get 3/4 away with this, and this will be hitting your vise. But you've got to have a vise to do this if you haven't got the bearing press.
And something else we'd like to share, we also used quite a lot of silicone spray on the inside and on the bushing as it was going in. We sprayed a lot of it, and it made it go in a lot easier.
A lot easier, yeah.
You
Anyway,
can use something else if you want to.
I hope that helps. If you find you think how on earth is that going to go, and you've got to do a little bit of twist. It's virtually there with them.
Just
There's
a little
nowhere in
bit
this
too
world
big.
that's going to go in without a little
some
bit of
work.
fine work on it. Not too much, just a little bit. 'Cause remember, it's
Yeah,
plastic.
don't take too much off that, 'cause it's the
Just a
plastic.
chamfer that we found. In fact, if you look on here, there it's sort of got a chamfer. The other one had more pronounced
You
one.
basically want to be able to push this bush in a little bit, then you want to sort of level it up and tap it with a socket on the top and a hammer. But it needs to go in easily. It can't go in hard, because if it doesn't go in easily, it won't go in a vise, and you'll end up damaging it.
Our first step basically was when we've cleaned all this up and chamfered this.
We've got to do work on this yet.
See there, that's no way that's going in there. Just on there, and a slight tap, a very light tap with a mallet. Just position it so it's level going in here straight.
You can try and get it as level as possible by hand, but if it goes over a little bit, just tap the corresponding side. So if it's not level here, tap that side, etc. Until you get it level, then you can go over to the vise. That's a few tips we want to
the
share.
most useful piece of equipment was this big washer.
Yeah, just to put on this side and push it in.
It worked. So
You can use whatever you've got. It's just we're just
You'll definitely
trying
have
to show
one,
you what
you'll
we're
definitely
using.
have one of them if you've taken it to bits and you're refurbing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hope this
Right.
helps
So
you.
once we've got the bushing in the other arm, we just need to reattach it to the new Watts linkage. This is the new Watts linkage, and then we'll put it on the car. So thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask.